The time of singing. Yes, it is done. The winter is over and past. And the time of the singing of birds is come. Yes, it's spring. Though still it is cold enough to make our good, bright fire a rallying point to the family. We begin to find our usual number of letters, wanting to know all this, that, and the other about Florida. All in good time, friends. Come down here once and use your own eyes, and you will know more than we can teach you.
Thank you for coming out on a chilly evening. Frederick Stowe was injured at Battle of Gettysburg. And as we know, war, it can destroy not only bodies, but minds and spirits. So already a somewhat troubled man. What we now know as PTSD was a burden for him and for his family. So Harriet Beecher Stowe and her husband Calvin, they bought a cotton farm across the river, Laurel Grove in Orange Park. This was an attempt to find a place for Frederick to heal. Of course, from Orange Park, one only had to row across the river to beautiful Mandarin. And of course, Harriet fell in love with Mandarin. Buying property not very far from this church that we're sitting in tonight. And of course, most of us know of her many good works here in North Florida, as she lived here with her husband as really, one of those OG snowbirds, to tell you the truth. That was Harriet. Of course, we're grateful for that. She wrote about her time here. She was a writer, of course, and an international celebrity. And she wrote about her time here in North Florida, doing her winters here. And these essays were compiled in a book. And that book is Palmetto Leaves. Show of hands, anyone who's read that? Okay, there's a few. It's an easy read. I highly recommend it. 1872. So this evening you're going to hear songs that are based on these these essays, as well as you're going to hear excerpts from the book itself. And in this book, it's a little travelog memoir, she called it. In this book, we encounter Florida, that's often very different than the one we know, and then strangely familiar. You've already heard her extol the beauty of northern Florida in this first song. Now she's going to tell you about trips from Savannah to Jacksonville and a little stowaway among the steamer that they were on. Marcia.
Nobody's dog. Yes, here he comes again. Look at him. Whose dog is he? But here comes the dog, now slowly drooping from one to another. The most woebegone and dejected of all possible dogs. Not a bad-looking dog either. Not without signs about him of good dog blood. We call for his name. The stewards call him Jack. But he seems to run about as well for one name as another. And it is proposed to call him Barnes from the name of the boat we were on. Poor Jack was overlooked in the bustle of the steamer and the last agonies of getting landed. We suppose we had lost sight of him forever. But lo, when the fair-haired lady was crossing the hall to her room, a dog, desperate and dusty, fought his way through the ranks of waiters to get to her. "It isn't our dog. Put him out gently. Don't hurt him," said the young lady's father. But Jack was desperate and fought for his mistress and bit the waiter that ejected him. And of course got kicked with emphasis into the street. What was the end of the poor dog's romance we had never heard? Whether he is now blessed in being somebody's dog, petted, cared for, caressed, or whether he roves the world desolate-hearted as nobody's dog, with no rights to life, liberty, or pursuit of happiness. We have no means of knowing.
Whose dog is he? Here he comes again. Looking Florida is many things at once. Often a cherished place, but still at times it's quite a disappointment, especially if you were seeking paradise. So like a tapestry, it has two sides. Yes. I went out of order, sorry.
The wrong side of tapestry. It's not to be denied that for half of the tourists and travelers that come to Florida return intensely disappointed and even disgusted. Why? Evidently, because Florida, like a piece of embroidery, has two sides to it. One side, all tag-rag and crumbs, without order or position, and the other side showing flowers and arabesques and brilliant color. Both these sides exist. Both are undeniable, undisputed facts. Not only in the case of Florida, but of every place and thing under the sun. There is a right side and a wrong side to everything. The picnic, this 29th day of February, is a day made on purpose for a fishing party. The day that comes only once in 4 years certainly ought to be good for something, and this is as good a day for picnicking up Julington as if it had been bespoken 4 years ahead. It's a lake, that big spring from Florida, and so these forests are behindhand with their foliage. So goes the 29th of February on St. John's.
This next song is based on the chapter Picnic. So even then, folks were enjoying the war. Imagine that.
The 29th day of February comes only every 4 years. So take a leap, it's time to be merry. Time to relax with those we hold dear. It's time to set sail once again.
we find and breathe feeling in the minds of the Floridian public in view of a letter in The Independent by Dr. X. Imagine, therefore, our utter astonishment at finding our buoyant doctor summing up his Florida experience in such paragraphs as these. From what I have observed, I should think Florida was 9/10 water, and the other 10 swamp. Many are deceived by the milder climate here, and down they come to die. The mildness, too, is exaggerated. Yesterday morning, the thermometer was at 36 degrees. Outside, our winter overcoats were necessary, and great wood fires roared within. Now and then, the thermometer reaches 80 degrees at midday, but that very night, you may have frost. Another fact of Florida is malaria. How could it be otherwise? South Manhattan Island, 2 feet deep in fresh water, and wouldn't the price of quinine rise?
Yeah. So Florida, it gets a lot of bad press these days, I think, and clearly that's nothing new. I'm convinced personally that the original Florida man came over with the Morgans and settled in St. Augustine, but I could be wrong. This next song is about that bad press as well as that other side of the tapestry of Florida. So we're going to keep it real, just like Harriet did. Have a real Florida man.
That just might come to Florida to die. Come to Florida. The weather's grand, some weeks of the year. Just understand, you still might need a coat in sunny Florida. Just might come to Florida to die. Come to Florida. The weather's grand, some weeks of the year. Just understand, you still might need a boat in sunny Florida.
Get into that little white yacht that lies dancing and curtsying on the blue waters of the St. John's this pleasant Monday morning. It is a day of days. Spring has come down with all her smiles and roses in 1 hour. The great blue sheet of water shimmers and glitters like so much liquid lapis lazuli. And now the word comes from our neighbor, the owner of the pleasure yacht. Wouldn't you like to go sailing?
For more water fun, the Stowe's neighbor had a pleasure yacht. Needless to say, the invitation to go sailing was accepted.
A letter to the girls. Yes, the girls. Dear souls all, I bless your bright eyes and fancy you about me as a sort of inspiration to my writing. I could wish you were everyone here. Wouldn't we have the whole bright flock of you come fluttering down together to play croquet with us under the orange trees this afternoon? And while you are waiting for your turns to come, you should reach up and pull down a bough and help yourself to oranges. Or you should join a party now going out into the pine woods to gather yellow jessamine. Then this afternoon it is proposed that we form a party to visit Aunt Katie, who lives about 2 miles away in the pine woods. Over on Julington, as the people here say. On Julington means on a branch of the St. John's named Julington Creek, although it is as wide as the Connecticut River at Hartford.
So our letter book was in the form of letters back home to let people know what she was up to. That's pretty clear what that was. That's a little more enticing, I think, than the swamp song.
Bless your bright eyes, souls ever dear. I wish you were here with me over on Julington, strolling beside the creek, shaded by trees. And Palmetto friends far and near, friends there and here,
St. Augustine, the thermometer with us during the third week in May rose to 92 in the shade. And as we have received an invitation from a friend to visit St. Augustine, which is the Newport of Florida, we thought it a good time to go see her. So on a pleasant morning, we embarked on the handsome boat Florence, which has taken so many up the river, and thus secured all the breeze that was to be had. On landing, we found that we must pay for the pleasure and coolness of coming upriver in the Florence by waiting 2 or 3 mortal hours till the start arrived. For the railroad car would not start till the full complement of passengers was We had a good opportunity then of testing what the heat of a Florida sun might be, untempered by live oaks and orange shades, and unalleviated by ice water. And the lesson was an impressive one.
So how many of us have taken our out-of-town relatives for a little trip down to St. Louis? Clearly, it was a lot harder to get to in those days. So this next song goes a little bit beyond Harriet's description of St. Augustine. It just kind of tells a little bit of its history. And it's even better because we have a son of St. Augustine singing. Not only is he a Florida man,
It stands alone, isolated from the
Commodore rose. When the magnolia flowers were beginning to blossom, we were ready and took passage, a joyous party of 8 or 10 individuals on the steamer Darlington, commanded by Captain Broche, and, as is often asserted, by Commodore Rose. This latter, in this day of women's rights, is no mean example of female energy and vigor. She is stewardess of the boat and magnifies her office. She was once a slave, owned by Captain Broche, but emancipated, as the story goes, for her courage and presence of mind in saving his life in a steamboat disaster.
So Palmetto Leaves contains some stories about some interesting characters who lived here at the time. We're going to hear about 2 of these who have to be former slaves, and certainly they would have held Harriet in the highest of regard. First, Commodore Rose, a very formidable woman, just like Harriet. But she rose to the occasion, and like Harriet, she took charge.
Beautiful.
Nimrod. One annoyance on board the boat was the constant and pertinacious firing kept up by that class of men who think that the chief end of man is to shoot something. Now, we can put up good, earnest hunting or fishing done for the purpose of procuring for man food, or even the fur and feathers that give his fancy and taste. But we detest indiscriminate and purposeless maiming and killing of happy animals who have but one life to live, and for whom the agony of broken bones or torn flesh is a helpless, hopeless pain, unrelieved by any of the resources which enable us to live. A parcel of hulking fellows sit on the deck of a boat and pass through the sweetest paradise God ever made without one idea of its loveliness, one gentle, sympathizing thought of the animal happiness with which the Creator has filled these recesses. All the way along is a constant fusillade upon every living thing that shows itself on the bank. Now a bird is hit and hangs head downward with a broken wing, and a coarse laugh courses thee. Now an alligator is struck, and the applause is great. We once saw a harmless young alligator whose dying struggles, as he threw out his poor little black paws piteously like human hands, seemed to be vastly diverting to these cultivated individuals. They wanted nothing of him except to see how he would act when he was hit. Dying agonies are so very amusing. Now and then, these sons of Nimrod, in their zeal, put in peril the nerves, if not the lives, of passengers. One such actually fired at an alligator right across a crowd of ladies, many of them invalids, and persisted in so firing a second time after having been requested to desist. If the object were merely to show the skill of the marksman, why not practice upon inanimate objects? An old log looks much like an alligator. Why not practice on an old log? It requires as much skill to hit a branch as the birds singing on it. Why not practice on the branch? But no, it must be something that enjoys and can suffer. Something that loves life and must lose it. Certainly, this is an inherent savagery difficult to account for. Killing, for killing's sake, belongs not even to the tiger. The tiger kills for food, man for amusement.
These are not really surprising words coming from the little woman who started the Good War. So if Harriet were alive today and championing her favorite causes, freedom from racial oppression, women's rights, the proper stewardship of creation, aka environmentalism, and even the sensible use of firearms, well, we call her a progressive, wouldn't we? I'm certainly okay with that. Everybody has an opinion. But I think she'd be okay with it too. So the following song, it was actually written in the week following the grocery store shooting in Buffalo, you may call that. And I think Harriet's words echo pretty true today as they did in the 1870s. Here's a literary note. Nimrod, he was a king and a great-grandson of Noah. So as with many Old Testament narratives, His story is complicated and often a little bit unsavory. Father Joe will be happy to discuss that with you. And thanks to Robert E. Lee and Bugs Bunny, his name, Nimrod, has come to mean somewhat of an insult, I suppose. This is Sons of Nimrod.
Critters and beasts, all of God's creatures, the great and the least, all of them simply living their lives in the sun, till the Nimrod show up with their guns. Hunting is noble when bellies are filled, but where is it written that blood must be spilled just to show off their marksmanship, killing for fun? Why are Nimrods in love with their guns? Lay out. Classrooms and nightclubs, markets and streets, two-legged targets, not slain for their meat, children, parents, and friends, their existence undone. Because Nimrod still worship their guns. Sons of Nimrod still worship their guns.
Come, Gabriel, and blow your horn. The old Cujo had at last brought his lamb from the wild embrace of the snaky scrub palmetto to the point of bearing a bale of cotton like the one on the wall. He had subdued the savage earth, brought her on, and made her tributary to his will, and demonstrated what the soil of East Florida might, could, and would do, the cotton martin to the contrary notwithstanding. And yet this morning he stood by his cotton, drooping and dispossessed. The white man that had engaged to take up land for these colonists had done his work in such a slovenly, imperfect manner that another sect, a foreigner, had taken up a tract which passed right through old Cujo's farm, and taken the land on which he had spent 4 years of hard work, taken his log cabin, and barn, and young trees, and the very piece that he had just brought to to bearing that bale of cotton. And there he stood by it, mournful and patient. It was only a continuation of what he had always experienced, always oppressed, always robbed and cheated. Old Cujo was making the best of it and trying to ship his bale of cotton, which was all that was left of 4 years' toil.
Don't worry, there's a happy ending. with the help of skilled and qualified late 19th century lawyers, he got his rights back. He got his stuff back. He got his land back. So old Cujo was another slave, of course, swindled by, a Yankee carpetbagger. I don't know about that. But the point of this story is he never lost faith. And Harriet goes to great pains to talk about how old Cujo, he kept his faith because he knew that Angel Gabriel was going to come back and restore everything, and it all worked out for him. So Reese is going to tell us about that.
You don't know my name, but the Lord, He knows me. And one day He's gonna send angel my way, an angel with a trumpet in his hand, one foot on the sea and the other on the land. Gonna tune me up and right what is wrong. Come Gabriel and behold, you're home. There was a time I was hurt. Everything I worked for was gone, but I never gave up hope, 'cause I knew my angel would come along. With one hand on the sea and the other on the land, He's gonna tune it up and right what is wrong. Truth and justice are restored. You see, the instrument was an angel, but all praise and glory goes to the Lord. One on the sea and the other on the land, He's gonna tune it up and
Come to me. And no one ever. A few thanks for the evening. First of all, I want to thank our musicians. Start over here in violin, Philip Pan. Alexander Marino. Brandon Smith. Ernie Elam on the bass. Professor Tony Steve. I'll start here with Reese Dickerson if he likes to. Jacob Rothman. Natalie Elam. And Millie Bissett. I do want to thank Marcy Beck for being the voice of Harriet tonight. But you know, there's cookies and stuff in the Great Hall, and I think there might be lunch. And this is kind of fun. Made possible by the good people of the Episcopal Church of Our Savior, this whole project really starts as an album. This is an album, a record album. And, you know, I guess some people are still using these. And you see on the back of your, of course this is bad business, but on the back of your program you see a QR code. Of course, today all these will be streaming as well. So, these are available in the back of the church, and you know, we've got to deal with the church, so the church will share in the revenues as well. So, which seems fair. Gosh, there's one more thing. Oh, this artwork. I'll cover your bulletin and program this. Our own Becky Woodward. It's kind of a fun story. This is fun to me. I spend a lot of time in the studio by myself, so my idea of fun is but as this project was coming together and we were getting to the point where we needed to do the production, I thought, I'm going to call Becky and see what she's got going. And just on her easel at that time was this. She goes, I'm painting some Palmetto Leaves right now. So there you have it. Thanks, Becky, and thanks to everybody. And thanks to you for being here tonight. I lost my note for the last one. This last song doesn't come directly from Palmetto Leaves. It's kind of what I imagine that Harriet might be thinking at the end of all this. And Millie will be the voice of Harriet.